In Bangladesh, actually. The Daily Star, for instance, says that the rescue is a race against time. And you can see the death toll has changed, actually, since this article was published. But there's that striking photo of the foot of one of the victims. And the article points out that that victim, like many others, was probably afraid of actually going to work in this building after cracks had appeared on Tuesday. And another paper, The Independent, another paper from Bangladesh, says that it's disconcerting that the owners of the buildings and in fact the owners of the factories, the garment factories that were located in the buildings, it was disconcerting that they decided to keep their operations running after these cracks appeared on Tuesday. The Independent says that while the owners of the building should really receive exemplary punishment for violating building codes, and it says how much longer will the nation keep on looking at the funeral procession of the dead who fall prey not to the law of nature, but to blatant human greed and the failure of institutions. And in fact, the Wall Street Journal today points out that this is not the first time that there's been such an industrial tragedy in Bangladesh and in Asia in general. For instance, this article here points out that back in November, 110 workers died at a fire at another garment factory in Dhaka. And, well, the Wall Street Journal points out that Bangladesh has one of the largest garment industries in the world. It provides cheap clothing for lots of major Western retailers because of its low cost of labor. Now, it's unclear just which Western retailers were making garments in this factory. In fact, a lot of them have released statements saying they were trying to distance themselves from this disaster.
Okay, let's move on to Italy now. A new prime minister there, not always the longest-lived of posts.
That's right. Enrico Letta in the La Stampa points out that he was surprised, actually, to be nominated and felt the profound responsibility on his shoulders. Now, he's seen as a potential ticket out of the political crisis that's paralyzed Italy for the last 2 months. He says he's going to quickly form a government with just about 18 ministers, says La Stampa, though he did say that this government will not be born at all costs, if it will only be born if the conditions are met. So who is this guy? A lot of the press is trying to figure out who he is. The Financial Times has a portrait of him, 46 years old, pro-European. He comes from the moderate Catholic wing of the center-left Democrats. So the Financial Times says that he's a party loyalist who is seen as perhaps the bridge to Silvio Berlusconi and the center-right.
Okay, next up, The Guardian reporting on a landmark scientific discovery 60 years ago.
That's right. 60 years ago today, Francis Crick and James Watson published the structure of DNA. And that is, of course, the twisted ladder of the double helix. I remember that from biology. Now, this, according to The Guardian, marked an incredible turning point, the beginning of an industrial revolution, a golden age. Our understanding of life was changed forever, and in fact, it's become so much part of our culture. The authorities use it for crime scenes, etc. And according to this article, despite all the moral questions and lawsuits that have come up around DNA, it's important and it's our responsibility to let DNA technology flourish. Another little article in The Guardian takes a closer look at a woman, actually, who played a crucial role in discovering DNA. Her name was Rosalind Franklin. And it was her skills in something called X-ray crystallography that tipped off Crick and Watson, but she didn't get any of the credit. So The Guardian wonders, was this a case of science and sexism? Well, she died before they received their Nobel Prize in 1962, and The Guardian wonders, would she have been a laureate if she was still alive?
Let's finish up on the deeply unsexist world of football. In the last World Cup in South Africa, it was the Vuvuzela which made the noise, and there's going to be a change in Brazil.
That's right. It's called the Cachirola, and I think we can pull up some images where you can get a listen of what it actually sounds like. The man you'll see in the video is a Brazilian musician. Here you hear it. So that's the Cachirola. That man is Carlinhos Brown. He's a famous musician in Brazil. He designed it specifically for this World Cup. But remember, the Vuvuzela was banned because it made too much noise. I wonder how long this will last in the stadiums.
Which could be levelled at this, it would seem. Florence VILLEMINOT, thank you very much for that review of the international press. Do stay with us. Coming up very shortly, business selling France. President Francois Hollande is in China as he tries to build trade for French companies.